Kadalasan ang meron ito. Bakit po hanggang ngayon lagi na every year na lang #1 talaga ang breast cancer?
Yeah, but because of course there's risk factors pa rin involved sa maraming risk factors. Now obesity is one of that. No, hindi lang siya for the cardiovascular risk factors, pero for breast cancer, ano pa rin, obesity is paving the way for having developing cancer. Of course, genetic pa rin, no? There's the genetic causes pa rin. Of course, bakit? Kasi sa screening wise, breast is most common pa rin talaga na nasa-screen natin ng mammographies. Usually, the pinaka-common na utility ginagamit to screen patients for cancer. So, ang maganda lang dito, mas naging aware ng mga tao, so mas early na detect. So, mas marami natin na nakukuhang mga na-detect, nakukuha natin sa census natin as part ng breast cancer. Before kasi hindi sila nagpapakita, worse, napangit na, hindi na nakukuha.
Nakikita agad, oo. Pero Doc, totoo ba na while genetics is a factor, karamihan daw sa mga breast cancer patients ay walang genetic component. Kumbaga, random, bigla.
Sporadic,
kahit walang history of cancer sa family. So, kumbaga, hindi mo iisipin kung nyari ako isang bilang babae, hindi porket nagka-cancer yung kamag-anak ko, hindi na ako magpapacheck up.
Well, kasi of course, ang risk factors pa na if may first degree relative ka, sister, nanay, or tita, talagang kailangan mo talaga mag-advise mo ng screening na talaga for breast. And then, but the thing is, you have to ask also yung mga ibang risk factors like sedentary lifestyle, use of mga hormonal replacement therapies, and then yung mga obesity nga, and yung mga yon. So if all of those factors are in, you really advise them to do screening na kasi baka there's tumataas kasi risk nila. Accumulated risk factors na yan na exposed nun sa pasyente would actually have increased risk of developing cancer din. So gusto natin ma-screen sila agad.
And these kinds of screenings, for example, would be your aside from parang yung isa personal self checkup, and then the other one, mammography.
Yeah, so bali sa screening, when you say we have meron physical checkup, may self-assessment tayo monthly.
Breast ultrasound. Pero yung mammography, every year ba yan?
Ano na
kailangan?
Siya? Bali, every 2 years na siya ngayon. Dati every year, binubog na siya sa every 2 years.
Buti naman, mahal din kasi.
Actually, kasama na siya sa PhilHealth eh.
Yes, actually, oo.
Kasi sa ultrasound, usually, you use that if yung breast is dense. Pag medyo dense yung breast. Totoo yun, kasama na hand-in-hand ang mammography at ultrasound. Kasi minsan di nakikita siya sa mammography kasi it's more of an X-ray type ang mammography. So pag medyo dense or siksik ang isang dibdib, medyo mas kailangan ng sonar, yung ultrasound guided para mas makita yung itsura ng bukol.
And then sabi niyo sa mga kalalakihan naman, it's lung cancer.
Lung cancer and colorectal.
And colorectal. Ano po ang reason?
Well, smoking pa rin. Is one of the reasons. And then genetic is still there. Then we screen patient cancer at the range of 50 years old who have smoking heavy years and malakas manigarilyo talaga. We advise them to do screening na talaga.
Anong screening for lung X-ray?
CT scan, low-dose CT scan.
CT scan?
Yes, low-dose CT scan.
And for colorectal naman?
So pag colorectal naman, usually at the age of 45, we advise na we do colonoscopy. So every 5 years to 10 years yun. Kung 10 years usually ang colonoscopy. And then they can do stool exam lang. So tawag doon is fecal occult blood test. So yung malalaman sa stool, sa dumi, kung may dugo. Pero ganoon din, pag may dugo na-detect, colonoscopy din. Kasi kailangan makita ko ba, minsan almoranas lang dahilan. Minsan naman talaga meron talagang bukol sa bituka. So yun, kailangan na siya mag-colonoscopy.
Matagal na rin natin sinasabi na prevention naman talaga is better than cure. And sa usapin po ng cancer, ano po ba yung mga konkretong paraan para maiwasan ito?
So again, una is primary prevention. So for primary prevention, meaning walang cancer ang isang pasyente, wala pa siyang sintomas, wala pa detection. So what do you do? Of course, active lifestyle. And if for example, for skin cancer, you do your sunscreen to protect from UV radiation, prevent melanoma, skin cancer. And of course, for example, for lung cancer, you stop smoking.
Yes. Ngayon mahirap gawin eh. Diba? Para sa mga addicted na.
Yeah. And then of course, there's vaccinations. So So how does vaccination prevent you from developing cancer? Kasi may tinatawag na for cervical cancer and oropharyngeal cancer, you have the HPV virus, human papillary virus, which actually develops into cancer over time for cervical cancer and oropharyngeal cancer. So you do vaccination. So it's given 3 doses. And then for liver cancer, yung hepatitis naman, you do HEPA vaccination. So those are your primary preventions.
Okay.
Then you have the secondary prevention. So secondary preventions naman are those who have no symptoms or walang symptoms pero may bukol na hindi nila alam. So doon papasok yung screening. Colonoscopy, mammography, low-dose CT scan for the lung, and then you have, of course, prostate digital rectal exam, PSA for blood test, and then for liver, actually there's 6, no? 6 na sin-screen natin ngayon. So the breast, colon, cervix, and then you have the lung, you have the prostate, and then you have the liver. So yun.
Ang dami palang
screen na
dapat.
ngayon.
Okay, so kailangan aware talaga tayo kung may history ka ba or minsan talagang kahit wala. Sabi nga natin, you have to check. Well, Doc, what about pagdating sa mga paniniwala?
Yeah.
Or yung mga haka-haka or myths na tungkol sa cancer, madalas ay naririnig. Baka may gusto po kayong linawin.
Okay. So kasi nangyayari dyan ngayon is nauuso yung mga sugary based, wag na sugar,
Wag na raw.
diba?
Yeah, sabi
Kasi
nila,
sugar
nakaka-cancer ang sugar.
Ang nangyayari kasi dyan is more of you have to understand that yung physiology or the metabolism ng katawan. So everyone needs sugar. Everything comes from carbohydrates, from the rice, from everything. As long as you burn what you eat, when you say burn, gumalaw ka, kumilos ka, i-metabolize mo yung kinain mo, it will not become fat. Because sugar becomes fat in the end. Kung di mo siya ginagamit, pagkatapos kumain, walang ehersisyo, tulog lang, pahinga lang, nagiging taba siya. And then those fats can actually is one of the risk factors for hindi lang naman siya sa cancer, no? Pwede rin siya sa cardiovascular, sa heart disease, no? So those
diabetes.
Yeah, diabetes, no? So those things nagkakaroon ng inflammation ng katawan. If there's constant inflammation, nagkakaroon ng mamagayang cells, then nagkakaroon ng mutation, so it develops cancer, no? So yun.
So it can.
But the thing is, hindi naman kasi everyone needs to take carbohydrates or sugar pa rin in moderation. So you don't limit everything. Kasi if you just go to, like for example, just proteins, yung iba kasi ketogenic diet. Of course, the problem is you may risk them for having kidney diseases. So it has to be well-balanced. Balanced dapat ang pagkain natin. So it's a myth na you just think na sugar can cause cancer, no? Of course, in excess, everything is in a problem naman. Diba? Or everything, kaya nga tinatawag pag uminom ka ng alak, drink moderately. You don't do it in excess. Yun. So yun yung isa sa mga myth na talagang common talagang.
Oo. Minsan, some people with cancer talagang, for example lang, Doc, I've heard of people na ayaw na nilang mag-chemotherapy dahil meron daw kesyo may herbal product or may something. I mean, what can you say that from about that?
Yeah.
From a medical perspective.
So, here, when it comes to mga herbal kasi, the thing is, walang siyang all scientifically proof dapat siya. Kasi when you do treatment in the patient, it has to be evidence-based. Meaning, bago namin binigay isang gamot na yon, meron kasi mga ginawa ng trials. Marami ng trials to know the safety profile ng gamot at saka ano ba yung clinical benefit niya over time. Sabihin, bago binigay kasi yung gamot na yon, napag-aralan niya ng dekada na bago ibinigay sa isang pasyente. Kasi ang herbal kasi minsan, napapapansin niyo pag binasabing herbal, makita niyo sa commercial, di ba? No therapeutic claim. Yes, no therapeutic claim. Di ba? Ang hirap kasi the sad part is, of course, mas mura kasi ang herbal. So, don't they cling on that. But that's why we are now focusing on prevention at saka early detection. Para at the same time, kung ma-detect siya na mas maaga, hindi tayo aabot sa mga punto ng gamutan ng masyadong mamahal na. Doon pa lang sa ma-detect ng early, baka surgery pa lang, okay na tayo. Diba? Kung early pa lang. And the problem kasi sa herbal, yes, it's cheaper, but the thing is, there is no evidence base to back it up. If there would be, it's mga hindi pa puro mga parang annotation lang.
Istorya lang, mga anecdotes
lang. Hindi pa talaga siya talagang series of studies talaga. And, there are herbal things that are approved by DOH, mga lagundi, diba, yung mga sambong, because that is been proven na, diba, for the other things, but not for cancer.
Not for cancer,
Yes.
So, ang cancer kasi very specific, may chemo, radiation, may immunotherapy.
Yes, maraming
targeted.
modalities that you actually do kasi ang cancer kasi it behaves differently, so you have to have different attacks and approaches to cancer treatment.
Oo. Anyway, sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon, Doc, lalo na yung mga may family history at even yung wala, no? Ano po yung inyong payo para mas mapangalagaan nila ang kanilang kalusugan?
So, ano po yun, huwag kayong matakot sa pag kunwari may nakita pong bukol o may nakita kayong simptomas na hindi nyo na usually nakikita. Magsangguni po sa doktor kasi habang maaga, ang sabi nga po nila is an ounce of prevention is equal or worth a pound of cure. Mas mahalaga pa rin talaga ang prevention. Kasi sa prevention pa lang, pag nakita ng mas maaga at ma-address ng tama, maiiwasan natin yung mga gastos po. So, talagang huwag po matakot.
Magpa-check up.
Yes.
Alright, maraming salamat, Doc Arthur Jason Go, sa pagbabahagi po ng inyong kaalaman at sa pagpapaliwanag tungkol sa kahalagahan ng cancer prevention at syempre maagang pagpapasuri. Thank you, Doc. Up next sa Power Pause, alamin kung ano nga ba itong blood parasite infection at paano ito nakakaapekto sa ating fur babies sa pagbabalik yan ng programang numero 1 sa kalusugan ng pamilyang Pilipino, Health at Home.
Maraming paraan, ang kuryente ay ang nagsusulong sa ating pag-unlad. This administration will continue to work hard and hand in hand with the private sector in crafting processes, policies that make electricity accessible, affordable, and reliable. Sa bagong Pilipinas, malinaw na walang pamilya ang dapat mapag-iwanan sa ating pag-unlad. Kaya patuloy na magtutulungan ang pamahalaan at pribadong sektor upang pabilisin ang produksyon, ayusin ang proseso at palawakin ang saklaw ng ating mga programa, lalo na ang Expanded 4PH program. Believe that the true measure of a nation's progress is the kind of future that we prepare for our youth. Policies and programs set the direction, but it is through you, our teachers, that these aspirations take root and grow.
Tara na sa masayang mundo ng paglikha.
Kung gusto niyo namang balikan ang mga obrang ginawa natin this week,
iba-ibang DIY projects, fun trivias at artworks. Para sa lahat ng kids at mga kids at heart.
Samahan si Kuya Joseph, Elia at Cholo sa kanilang exciting art adventures at bigyang kulay ang buhay.
Artsy Craftsy!
Artsy Craftsy. Tuwing Sabado, alas 10:30 ng umaga. Dito lang sa PTV. Pagbati sa ating mga programa at personalidad. Nawagi sa 2026 Platinum Stallion National Media Awards. Schoolmates, Youth-Oriented Program of the Year. Public Eye, Best Documentary Program. PTV Sports. Best Sports Program. Rise and Shine Pilipinas. Best Morning News Program. Artsy Craftsy. Citation for Informative Children's Program. At J. Esteban. Citation for TV News Presenter. Maraming salamat po sa Trinity University of Asia. At alay namin ang mga parangal na ito para sa bayan. For our next food crawl,
Food Squad, maabot tayo, cut off na, sold out. Buzzer beater. Bango, galing pang oven, mainit-init pa.
tara na sa another chibugan. Kasama ang certified foodie na si Joshua Garcia.
Ayawan na, Food Squad. Ang sarap ng pusep.
It's fun. Ngayong linggo, alas 10:30 na umaga.
Akin na to. Akin na to. Akin to.
Dito lang sa PTV. Health Watch, alertong pangkalusugan. Ang superflu o tinatawag na subclade K ay isang variant ng influenza A o karaniwang trangkaso. Ito ay naisasali sa pamamagitan ng respiratory droplets na nakukuha sa pagbahing, pag-ubo at simpleng pakikipag-usap. Maaari rin ito makuha sa paghawak sa mga kontaminadong bagay. Gaya ng trangkaso, ang mga sintomas ng superflu ay lagnat, sipon at ubo, pamamaga ng lalamunan, sakit ng ulo, panghihina at pananakit ng katawan. Para maiwasan ang pagkalat nito, takpan ang bibig at ilong kung babahing o uubo. Magsuot ng face mask sa mga matataong lugar. Iwasang lumapit sa mga taong nagpapakita ng sintomas nito. Ugaliin ang madalas na paghuhugas ng kamay. Kapag dinapuan ng trangkaso, limitahan na exposure sa mga kasama sa bahay. Palakasin ang resistensya sa pamamagitan ng sapat na pahinga, tamang nutrisyon, pag-inom ng kumonsulta sa malapit na health facility at magpabakuna, lalo na kung kabilang ka sa mga vulnerable sector gaya ng mga matatanda, bata, buntis, at mga may sakit. Tandaan, sa panahon ng sakit, dapat laging listo.
Isa sa mga seryosong problema ng ating mga alagang aso at pusa ay ang tinatawag na blood parasites infection. Dahil marami pa rin ang hindi gaanong pamilyar sa sakit na ito, mahalagang mabigyan ng tamang impormasyon ng ating mga fur parents mula sa mga sintomas na dapat bantayan hanggang sa tamang paraan ng paggamot at pag-iwas. At syempre, para tulungan tayong mas maintindihan ang usaping ito, makakapanayam natin ang veterinarian na si Dr. Zara Roscuelo. Magandang umaga, Doc Z.
Good morning, Maminya.
Doc, ano ba itong blood parasite infection? Parang nakakatakot pakinggan, no? Paano ito nakukuha ng ating mga aso at pusa?
So, from the name itself, parasite siya that is affecting the blood, no? So, usually, we call this a rickettsial infection and mga obligate na intracellular parasites ito. So,
Ano yun, Doc?
Ibig sabihin, nakatira sila
Yeah.
sa mga blood cells ng
Okay.
ating pets. E paano sila nakarating doon sa blood cells na
Oo
to,
nga.
no? So, meron silang carrier. And ang carriers nila are usually ticks, and sometimes yung fleas sa ibang species, no? So most of the time, lalo na dito sa atin sa Pilipinas, ang number one or common na carrier nitong mga blood parasites ay ang ating mga ticks o yung tinatawag nating garapata.
Grabe talaga yung garapata
Garapata.
na yan, ha? Parasite na nga siya, tapos may dala
Yes,
pa
may dala
siya.
siya.
Okay, so Ano-ano po yung mga uri ng blood parasite maaaring makita dito sa ating bansa?
So we have ehrlichiosis o yung nagkukos ng ehrlichiosis na disease, yung Ehrlichia na species. And then yung Babesia na species, nagkukos naman ng babesiosis. Hepatozoon, nagkukos ng hepatozoonosis.
Okay.
So madami.
Marami. Okay.
Yes.
Pero the fact is, galing sa garapata. So, pag kinagat ka ng garapata?
Yeah. Pag
Okay.
kinagat ng garapata, yung ating pet, kunyari, yung ang ticks ay kumagat doon sa aso na meron. So, sisip-sip siya ng dugo, di ba? So, nandun sa blood cells nga, nandun sa mismong dugo, itong mga blood bacteria na ito. So, nandun na siya sa saliva ng ticks. Ngayon, pag kumagat siya sa
ulit,
aso,
or-
maitatransmit niya or maitatransfer niya ito
Okay.
doon sa non-infected na dog.
Okay, so I guess, well, maliit na maliit ito. Hindi
Yes.
makikita kasi talagang nakasadugo. Pero pag may microscope mo siya, anong itsura?
Possible. So,
Anong
nandun siya sa
itsura
loob ng cells.
Okay.
Like your ehrlichiosis, may mga species ng Ehrlichia na makikita mo siya sa microscope na parang may dot doon sa cytoplasm
okay.
ng cell. Yung hepatozoon naman, parang shape siya ng hotdog. And then yung Babesia naman, sa red blood cell naman ito nakikita.
Okay. And paano sila naging parasite? Nasa loob ng dugo. Ano naman yung kailangan nila para mabuhay?
So they make use of the cells ng katawan ng dog to replicate at magparami. Yeah.
Okay.
So the sad
Oo,
part
sa loob
is
sa dugo. So nadami sila
oo,
sa dugo.
Sa dugo, yeah.
Okay.
So the sad part is, what is the clinical signs? Ano yung
Yes.
epekto nito
Kasi
dun sa aso?
Hindi mo makikita kasi nasa loob eh.
Exactly.
Oo.
And even the body of the animal itself, yung immune system niya, nahihirapan i-detect. Kasi 'di ba nandoon siya sa loob ng cells sariling cells nung animal, sariling blood cells ng animals.
So, paano kaya, Dok, malalaman ng isang fur parent na posibleng may blood parasite infection na pala ang kanilang alaga? Pero bang mga early warning signs?
Yeah. So most of the time, dahil nga intracellular sila, no? So medyo it takes time. Minsan subclinical, minsan akala mo apparently healthy or walang sakit yung pasyente. It just so happen na nagkakaroon na ng signs and symptoms, kaya nadidetect na siya ng mga may-ari. So once the clinical signs arises, ano yung mga nakikita natin na usually? So number 1, fever, lethargy, nagtatamlay, nawawala ng ganang kumain, nagkakaroon ng mga pasa or bleeding disorders, or ano pa, sometimes yung mga worst cases talaga, talagang hindi na sila ganun ka-active kasi nagiging anemic sila and thrombocytopenic, bumababa yung red blood cells, bumababa yung platelets, bumababa yung white blood cells o yung overall immunity ng pasyente. Sometimes yung mga worst cases natin na even the liver or the primary organs ay affected, nagkakaroon na sila ng icterus or jaundice, naninilaw na yung ating pasyente. So yung mga ganun, medyo malalala na yan, Ma'am Nina.
Okay, so hindi dapat paratingin doon. So,
Doon.
how do you detect that? May, I guess, blood test
Blood
ba?
tests.
And, ano yung random?
So,
How, is it a
pwede.
specific blood test?
So, pwede kunyari, annual vaccination ng iyong
Okay.
pet, yung regular vaccination. And hindi ka regular na nakakapagbigay ng preventive medicine for that ectoparasite, such as your ticks, na carrier nito. 'Di ba? Kasi arthropod vector sila eh. So, usually, pwede tayong mag-run ng complete blood count para ma-check.
Parang CBC.
Yes, oo.
Okay.
Yung complete blood count, it would reflect yung white blood cells, yung monocytes, na kung saan doon tumitira
Nakikita ko
yung
nga yun. Ano ba ito?
monocytes. the neutrophil, yung early din, kung saan yung anaplasma, itong mga babisya, na-affect yan. And the RBC, kung saan yung anaplasma din ay nakaka-affect siya kapag merong existing disease yung pet.
So makikita mo.
So doon, i-reflect lang niya kung bumababa. Ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon ng destruction yung blood cells. So to be specific, once nakita na ng vet na, uy, anemic yung ating pasyente or thrombocytopenic siya or mababa yung monocytes niya o may monocytopenia siya, pwede tayong mag-recommend ng mga antibody tests. So some advanced clinics, no, we have the PCR or yung polymerase chain reaction. Ito yung mga mas modern at mas specific na tests na pinaperform natin na magdedetect kung meron itong mga blood parasites yung ating pasyente.
So it will detect na
Yes,
because of this
definitely.
PCR
Yes,
test.
oo.
Alright. So, Doc, paano kung hindi na-detect agad or hindi agad nalaman nung fur parent, ano ang maaaring mangyari sa isang aso o pusa na may ganitong kondisyon tapos napabayaan?
So sabi ko nga, yung mga worst cases natin, ito na yung very lethargic sila, very inappetent, naglulose na sila ng body weight. So yung mga clinical signs na pwedeng mapansin ng ating mga may-ari ay may mga paninilaw na nangyayari, very dehydrated na. There could be epistaxis or may mga bleeding disorders na tayo na very evident na nakikita dun sa pasyente. Sometimes sa urine, pwedeng magkaroon ng blood. Sa stool, pwedeng magkaroon ng blood. Sa vomitus or pwedeng sila sumuka ng may blood din.
At kapag, let's say, na-diagnose nga po na meron silang ganitong kondisyon, ano po yung karaniwang treatment para sa mga alaga nating hayop?
So, number one, kailangan natin i-replenish yung fluids, no? For most patients, best talaga na for hospitalization sila. Lalo na kung medyo malala na yung mga symptoms and clinical signs, no? Worst cases natin, kailangan na natin ng blood transfusion. Ibig sabihin, kapag sobrang baba na nung red blood cell count at very affected na yung overall health ng ating patient, kailangan na natin i-replenish yung blood, no? So, we do transfusion. So, most of the time, antibiotics, antiparasitics, we give them to the patients, and then syempre supplement natin sila ng iron for cases na hindi pa affected yung kidneys. So we have to give yung mga nagbo-boost ng production ng blood cells para matulungan tawan ng pasyente nating aso na mag-recover at mag-produce ulit nitong mga cells na to. Kasi Ma'am Nina, it takes time bago mag-reproduce ng blood cells ang ating mga pets.
Like how long?
So usually 3 to 5 weeks depende sa resistensya nila.
And kapag gumaling sila with this treatment, it takes, yung ba, 3 to 5
Usually,
weeks na, or
yung
more?
treatment would be as long as 2 months.
Okay.
Merong mas mahaba sa 2 buwan, lalo na kung medyo stubborn or medyo mahina yung resistensya ng ating pasyente.
And ito ba ay, ano yun, iniinom or
Yes.
IV or what?
So, kapag stabilized na yung ating pasyente, so we give oral medications na that they can bring home. At
Okay.
tuloy-tuloy nila itong iinumin. Dapat hindi mapuputol yung pag-inom.
Oo. At yun nga, Doc, siguro maganda rin paalala sa ating mga pet owners na iniisip ko lang, baka mas prone nga yung kanilang alaga kapag may garapata.
Yeah.
Or pag nakita mo, oy, may garapata, baka...
Yes. Definitely, yun yung number 1 na risk factor.
Oo.
Yung exposure nila sa garapata. Kaya nga nabanggit ko na kailangan may preventive medicine. Kasi sometimes, yung mga misconception ng owners ay nagbibigay lang sila pag nakitaan. No? But these ticks, hindi naman sila nakatira sa pets eh. Hindi yan 24-hour all.
Pwede silang...
Yes.
Akala ko nakatira sila sa pet.
Yeah, oo. Di ba?
Hindi
Yun talaga
ba?
yung akala. Yes, oo.
Okay. Saan sila nakatira?
Sa environment talaga. And then they just come to the pet for the
Okay.
blood meal. Dahil doon sa blood, sa nutrition, sa food. Yeah.
So, pwede talagang lumipat sa tao yan or sa
Exactly.
iyong mga, di ba?
Yes, sa furniture, sa
Kagamitan.
crevices,
Oo.
sa curtains, di ba? Sa mga gamit sa bahay. Kaya di ba sa humans may mga incidental findings na nakakagat ang tao ng
Yeah, ng mga
garapata.
garapata.
Or nasa baby may garapata.
naku, wag
Yeah,
naman.
oo.
So, kailangan talaga malinis yung iyong kapaligiran. So,
Exactly.
meron bang spray para mamatay itong mga to?
So our regular insecticide can also kill this insect, yung mga arthropods natin.
I see.
Yung mga vector.
Okay. Well, Doc, naku, maraming salamat po sa inyo. May bago na naman akong natutunan mula po sa inyo. And thank you sa pagbabahagi nga po ninyo ng mga mahalagang impormasyon tungkol nga po dito sa blood parasites infection. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Abangan sa Fit Zone, ang isang exercise na makakatulong sa ating lakas at stamina. Sa pagbabalik yan ng programang Top Priority ang kalusugan ng pamilyang Pilipino. Health at Home.
Check out your dream machines with veteran journalist Ron De Los Reyes in one of the longest running motoring shows on Philippine television. Auto Review. Only here on PTV. Disaster Watch. Alamin ang mga dapat ilagay sa go bag bilang paghahanda sa anumang sakuna. Maglagay ng tubig na maiinom at mga pagkaing hindi madaling masira. Maglaan ng espasyo para sa first aid kit at survival kit para sa mga hindi inaasahang pangyayari. Huwag kalimutan ang toiletries para mapanatili ang kalinisan sa katawan. Samahan din ang mga damit at beddings na magtatagal ng ilang araw. At para ligtas at may alam, magdala ng personal protective equipment at mga teknikal na gamit. Sa panahon ng kalabis,
GadWatch. Safe Spaces Act.
Safe Spaces Act is actually a more comprehensive harassment law.
Ine-expand lang nito yung Republic Act 7877 kung saan isinasama na yung ibang, yung sa public spaces, and then of course yung sexual harassment or gender-based sexual harassment naman online.
Anti-Sexual Harassment Act, it involves sexual harassment committed by the superior. Safe Spaces Act, it actually penalizes sexual harassment, even peer-to-peer. Public spaces, streets, public utility vehicles, even yung mga restaurants and malls.
Sa Safe Spaces Act, meron tayong 793 such cases. Sinasama na yung online forms of sexual harassment dahil iyon nga yung trend ngayon.
Minamandate ang ating mga employers, whether in the public or in the private sector, na magkaroon ng CODI, Committee on Decorum and Investigation, para merong mechanism na pwedeng ma-reportan. Ang mga MMDAs and local traffic enforcers are trained to assist victims of the Safe Spaces Act.
We have our 24/7 Aling Police Helpline sa Facebook page namin, or they can already go directly po sa pinakamalapit or yung sa may area of jurisdiction sa kanila sa police station.
GadWatch.
Walang time mag-gym? No problem! Dahil kahit nasa bahay lang, gamit ang body weight at dumbbells, pwede ka nang mag-build ng strength at stamina. Kaya para turuan tayo ng tamang galaw at proper form, makakasama natin ang fitness coach na si Arniel Constantino dito sa Fit Zone.
Thank you, Ninya. Ako nga pala si Coach Arniel together with Christian. At ngayong umaga, tuturo namin sa inyo ang ilang easy exercises na pwedeng gawin kahit nasa bahay lang. Lalo na kung meron kayong busy schedule. Kaya tara, let's go! bago tayo mag-start, kailangan gawin natin yung mga dynamic warm-ups, dynamic stretches. So, pwede tayong gumawa ng rotations. So, gawin natin yung head rotations para sa neck natin. And then gagawa rin tayo ng arm rotations para sa shoulders natin. So, going forward, few reps, and then backwards. And then gawa rin tayo ng hip rotation para sa base natin sa upper and then lower. Rotate lang. And then rotate din natin yung wrist natin. Since meron tayong mga pressing or pushing movements, yan, few seconds ng rotate para lang ma-warm up yung wrist natin. Also, since meron tayong mga lower body workouts, need din natin na i-rotate yung ankle natin para ma-warm up or magising yung muscles natin sa legs natin or sa lower body. So, kailangan parehas na pa yung i-rotate natin para safe tayo. Iwas tayo sa injury and meron tayong blood flow. And then pwede rin natin i-add yung world's greatest stretch para maiwasan natin yung injury again, magkaroon tayo ng increase sa blood flow, and then mas maganda yung performance natin. So naka-lunging position lang tayo dito, yung isang kamay natin nasa floor para may support, and then yung isang kamay kasama yung body pati head, nagro-rotate lang sa opposite position. Dapat parehas na side, pagtapos na sa isa, sa kabila naman. Good, isa pa. Okay. After ng mga warm-ups, after ng mga dynamic stretching, pwede na tayo mag-start. So first workout natin is shoulder press. Meron lang tayo ditong maliit na dumbbell. Pero pag wala tayong access sa maliit na dumbbell, pwede tayong kumuha ng bottled water, dalawa, para meron tayong weight sa shoulder natin, sa kamay natin. Para kahit pa paano ma-challenge tayo. So gagawin lang natin press up, control down, and then press up, control down. Pwede natin itong gawin for 10 to 12 repetitions and then 3 sets, 3 ulit. Ayan. And then next workout natin, after shoulder, gagawa tayo ng squats, bodyweight squats. Optional pa din na pwede natin gamitin yung dumbbells para kahit pa paano, again, ma-challenge tayo para may weight yung ano. Pero for now, bodyweight squats lang tayo. So, yung stance natin, hindi masyadong malayo, sakto lang, and then yung hips natin patras, and then yung knees natin is sakto lang din, hindi masyadong nagpo-forward. And then, same din, pwede natin gawin to for 10 to 12 repetitions, 3 sets. Isa pa? Good. And then next workout natin is going to be for back. Kunin lang ulit natin yung dumbbell. So for back, magbe-bend over lang tayo. Tapos i-row natin siya ng close grip para sa lats natin. So bend over lang, tapos i-row lang natin siya malapit or sa side ng body natin. Pwede rin tayong gumawa ng ibang variation para sa upper back. And then gagawin natin is wide na rowing. Same as sa shoulder and sa legs. Gagawin natin to for 10 to 12 repetitions and then 3 sets each for close grip and then sa wide grip. Good. And then sa last workout natin, compound movement to, which is push-up. Gagawin lang natin siyang modified. Sa mga beginners, sa mga baguhan, or hindi pa masyadong sanay mag-workout, pwede natin gawin yung kneeling position na push-up. So luhod lang tayo, tapos position ng arms, pantay lang sa shoulder, tapos medyo pa-forward yung body natin. So kneeling muna tayo. Gawa lang tayo ng siguro mga 6 or 10 hanggang sa kaya natin. Kaya tayo naka-kneeling para may support yung body natin, hindi full body yung weight na binubuhat natin. Tapos kapag need nyo na mag-progress, mag-advance, pwede natin gawin yung standard position, which is yung paa yung, naka-extend yung paa sa dulo. And then same pa din yung pat ng shoulder, pat ng arms, and then ng elbow. Kailangan naka 45 degrees siya. Isa pa? Okay, good. After ng mga workout workouts, importante na mag-static stretching tayo. Kapag static stretching, kailangan ino-hold yung mga stretches. So pwede natin i-stretch from side yung shoulder. So grab lang ng arm, lean sa side, hold for 10 to 15 seconds, and then kabila din. Pwede rin natin i-add na elbow, pwede natin i-push yung elbow natin pataas para ma-stretch yung shoulder, yung triceps, yung chest, and then yung back natin. Kabila. Also, nag-lower body exercise tayo. So, kailangan i-stretch natin yung legs natin. So, pwede natin siyang atakin from behind each. Kapag hindi nyo pa kayang mag-balance, pwede kayong humahap sa wall, tapos atakin lang from behind. Kabila. Kabila mo na. And then, hatakin din natin siya from front para mas fully stretch yung legs natin. And then kabila. Good. And then aside from those workouts, kailangan hydrated tayo, may rest, and then proper nutrition. Ayun lang. And that's it. Di ba sobrang easy lang at pwedeng yung gayahin sa inyong mga bahay. Muli, I am Coach Arniel together with Christian. And maraming salamat. Back to you, Nina.
Huwag palampasin sa #FamBam dahil isang cozy hotel ang ating bibisitahin na sure akong ma-enjoy ng buong pamilya sa pagbabalik yan ng programang #1 sa kalusugan ng pamilyang Pilipino, Health at Home.
Diskarteng pangkabuhayan ba ang hanap mo? Magnegosyo na sa agrikultura gamit ang makabagong kaalaman. Mag-agri tayo. Baki Workshop na dito sa katuwang nyo sa paghahanap buhay. PTV. Hatid sa inyo ang ringside view ng matitinding ensayo ng mga boksingerong Pinoy para makamit ang Power Punch with Paolo Salamatin. Dito lang sa PTV Sports. Disaster Watch, paghahanda sa The Big One o malakas na lindol sa Metro Manila para mapabilis ang emergency evacuation at response sakaling tumama ang malakas na lindol sa Kalakhang, Maynila. Hinati ito sa 4 na quadrant para mabilis na mapuntahan ng mga lumilikas. North Quadrant. Sakop nito ang mga syudad ng Caloocan, Quezon City, Valenzuela, San Juan, at Mandaluyong. Ang nakatalagang evacuation camps dito ay ang Veterans Memorial Medical Center at ang UP Diliman Open Grounds. Ang mga primary care hospital sa North Quadrant ay ang Dr. Jose Rodriguez Memorial Hospital, San Lorenzo Ruiz Women's Hospital, Valenzuela Medical Center, East Avenue Medical Center, National Children's Hospital, Philippine Orthopedic Center, Quirino Memorial Medical Center, Lung Center of the Philippines, National Kidney and Transplant Institute, Philippine Heart Center, at ang Philippine Children's Medical Center. East Quadrant. Sakop nito ang mga syudad ng Pasig at Marikina. At ang mga evacuation camps dito ay ang LRT2 Santolan Depot, Marikina Boys Town, Red Cross Compound Marikina, at ang Ultra Pasig. Ang mga primary care hospital sa East Quadrant ay ang Amang Rodriguez Memorial Medical Center at ang Rizal Medical Center. West Quadrant. Kasama dito ang mga syudad ng Maynila, Malabon at Navotas. Ang Intramuros Golf Course ay ang nakatalagang evacuation camp dito. Ang mga primary care hospital sa West Quadrant ay ang Dr. Jose Fabellar Memorial Hospital, National Center for Mental Health, San Lazaro Hospital, Tondo Medical Center, at ang Dr. Jose R. Reyes Memorial Medical Center. South Quadrant. Sakop nito ang mga syudad ng Las Piñas, Makati, Muntinlupa, Parañaque, Taguig, Pateros at Pasay. Ang Villamor Air Base ay ang nakatalagang evacuation camp dito. Ang mga primary care hospital sa South Quadrant ay ang Las Piñas General Hospital and Satellite Trauma Center at ang Research Institute for Tropical Medicine or RITM. Tandaan, kahandaan ang susi sa kaligtasan. Huwag malito. Dapat laging listo.
Sa gitna ng busy schedules at kanya-kanyang ganap, minsan kailangan natin ng quick escape na swak sa budget. Comfortable sa lahat at siguradong enjoy mula kids hanggang kay lolo't lola. Isang hotel na may relaxing ambiance, spacious rooms at amenities na talagang pang-family bonding. Kaya tara at bisitahin natin yan dito lang sa #FamBam. For a perfect staycation within Metro Manila, may good news kami para sa inyo. Dahil dito mismo sa Quezon City, matatagpuan ang isang hotel na swak para sa bonding moments kasama ang pamilya.
Our vision is to create a warm, friendly, and cozy environment for our guests, not just for our guests, but also with our balikbayan Filipino na mga guests po.
Mula sa kanilang spacious and comfortable rooms na kayang i-accommodate ang buong pamilya, siguradong relax at feel at home ang inyong stay. Perfect ito para sa weekend getaway, movie nights o simpleng pahinga mula sa busy schedule.
We have standard room. We also have deluxe room, family room. So we cater to several markets po. We also encourage our guests to feel the cozy ambience, of course, from the room and yung food na siniserve namin dito.
At para naman sa mga gustong manatiling active kahit naka-vacation mode on, may fully equipped gym din sila para tuloy pa rin ang inyong fitness routine. Siyempre, hindi mawawala ang masasarap na pagkain na good for family sharing. Bukod pa dito, meron din silang ipinagmamalaking cafe kung saan pwede kayong tumambay, mag-chill at mag-enjoy ng inyong paboritong kape habang nagkukwentuhan o nagpapahinga. At kung may espesyal kayong okasyon, open din ang hotel na ito for birthdays, wedding receptions, at iba pang celebrations dahil meron silang function rooms na bagay sa anumang klaseng event.
We receive positive feedback. Yun nga, since we offer comfy vibe for our guests. So yun actually yung mostly na feedback na nare-receive namin is yung home away from home. We want our guests to experience not just the cozy ambience but the hospitality, the standard service na we have here.
Kaya kung hanap mo ay staycation na affordable, quality at nasa loob lang ng Metro Manila, ito na ang perfect destination para sa iyo at sa iyong pamilya. Mag-relax, mag-bonding at gumawa ng special moments kasama ang buong pamilya ngayong weekend dito lang sa Quezon City. At dyan nagtatapos ang ating talakayan ngayong araw. Sana may nabaon kayong dagdag kaalaman upang mas mapangalagaan ang inyong kalusugan. Tandaan, ang pag-iwas ay mas mabuti kaysa sa paggagamot. Hanggang sa susunod na episode, patuloy tayong maging mapanuri at responsable para sa mas malusog na bukas. Ako po si Nina Corpus Rodriguez, isang wifey at mommy, ang inyong kaagapay sa mga napapanahong isyong pangkalusugan. At ito ang Health at Home.
เป็นเวลากว่า 700 ปีแล้วที่นครรัฐอันยิ่งใหญ่แห่งนี้ได้ถือกำเนิดขึ้น จากจุดเริ่มต้นของสถานีการค้าต่อมากลายเป็นศูนย์กลางความเจริญ อดีตราชธานีแห่งนี้ถือเป็นแหล่งแลกเปลี่ยนอารยธรรมของหลายชาติหลายภาษา การหลอมรวมวัฒนธรรมอันหลากหลายเข้าด้วยกันนี้ไม่เพียงแค่สร้างเสน่ห์ที่เป็นอัตลักษณ์แต่ยังเป็นจุดหมายปลายทางของนักเดินทางทั่วโลกอุทยานประวัติศาสตร์สุโขทัยได้ขึ้นทะเบียนเป็นมรดกโลกกับองค์การยูเนสโกเมื่อปีพุทธศักราช 2534 หรือคริสตศักราช 1991 บนพื้นที่กว่า 70 ตารางกิโลเมตรของอุทยานแห่งนี้เป็นที่ตั้งของโบราณสถานต่างๆ กว่า 190 แห่ง ซึ่งเป็นตัวแทนความยิ่งใหญ่ของการเป็นศูนย์กลางทางการค้า ศาสนา วัฒนธรรม และการปกครองของอาณาจักรโบราณแห่งนี้ไม่เพียงอุทยานประวัติศาสตร์สุโขทัยแต่ห่างออกไปราว 50 กิโลเมตรในเขตอำเภอศรีสัชนาลัยยังเป็นที่ตั้งของอุทยานประวัติศาสตร์อีกแห่งที่ได้รับการขึ้นทะเบียนเป็นมรดกโลกขององค์การยูเนสโกเช่นกันภายในอาณาบริเวณของอุทยานประวัติศาสตร์ศรีสัชนาลัยมีโบราณสถานหลายแห่งที่น่าตื่นตาตื่นใจเราคงต้องใช้เวลาทั้งวันหากจะเยี่ยมชมโบราณสถานทั้งหมดในเขตจังหวัดสุโขทัยแต่ก็นับว่าคุ้มค่าสำหรับการได้มาซึมซับถึงความยิ่งใหญ่ของเมืองมรดกโลกแห่งนี้ไม่เพียงความงดงามของวัดวาอารามแต่สุโขทัยยังมีความโดดเด่นในเรื่องวิถีชีวิตที่สืบทอดกันมายาวนานหลายร้อยปีซึ่งนั่นมาพร้อมกับกิจกรรมและการท่องเที่ยวรูปแบบต่างๆมากมายกว่า 600 ปีแล้วที่เครื่องสังคโลกเป็นสินค้าสำคัญของสุโขทัยที่มีชื่อเสียงมาจนถึงปัจจุบันนี้เช่นเดียวกับทองสุโขทัยที่ฟื้นฟูกรรมวิธีการถักทองแบบโบราณขึ้นมาอีกครั้งจนได้งานหัตถศิลป์ที่แสดงถึงเอกลักษณ์เฉพาะตัวอันปราณีตสุโขทัยเป็นหนึ่งในจังหวัดของเขตพัฒนาการท่องเที่ยวมรดกโลกด้านวัฒนธรรมด้วยกิจกรรมการท่องเที่ยวที่สามารถดึงดูดนักท่องเที่ยวทั้งชาวไทยและชาวต่างชาติได้คือประเพณีลอยกระทงที่จัดขึ้นในวันพระจันทร์เต็มดวงช่วงเดือนพฤศจิกายนของทุกปีท่ามกลางความยิ่งใหญ่และความงดงามการเวลาได้ฟูมฟักสิ่งเหล่านี้ขึ้นอย่างประณีตยาวนานหลายร้อยปีไม่เพียงคุณค่าของเมืองมรดกโลกที่คนไทยภาคภูมิใจแต่สุโขทัยยังเป็นจุดหมายปลายทางของการท่องเที่ยวที่ยั่งยืนและพร้อมเสมอสำหรับการมอบความสุขให้แก่ผู้คนจากทั่วทุกมุมโลกที่มาเยือน
At your service, Pilipinas, ako po si Dr. Albert Domingo ng Department of Health. Samahan niyo kami para sa isang bagong Pilipinas ngayon dito lang sa PTV.
Travel Watch, mga dapat tandaan para sa ligtas na paglalakbay. I-check ang sasakyan bago ibiyahe. Tandaan ang blow baguettes, battery, lights, oil, water, brakes, air, gas, engine, tires, at ang sarili. Siguruhing nasa kondisyon ang katawan bago magmaneho at hindi ka pagod, nakainom o may iniindang karamdaman. Agahan ang pag-alis para hindi nagmamadali. Magbaon ng first aid kit na may mga gamot para sa sakit ng ulo, tiyan, lagnat, pagkahilo, allergy, sunburn at sugat. Magbaon din ng pagkain, tubig at pera sa mahabang biyahe. Tiyaking naka-charge ang cellphone. Gumamit ng navigation apps para maiplano ng maayos ang ruta. Kapag maulan at madulas ang daan, bagalan ng takbo ng sasakyan. Follow traffic rules. Sumunod sa mga traffic light. At dumistansya ng tama sa sasakyan sa unahan. Siyempre, habaan din ng pasensya at huwag pairalin ang init ng ulo sa daan. Ingat sa kalsada, mga kababayan. Sa anumang panahon, dapat laging listo.
Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat sa lahat ng ating mga makikisig